Good morning. Sorry I was away from the camera for a second. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm Linda with Pinky Moss Sisters in the kitchen, and Mary is at home today. She has been super busy. She worked, I think, half the night, maybe more, and we were both up late working, and so she may do something later on this week, but I'm going to be doing this by myself today. We have a real high chance of rain and some thunderstorms this afternoon. I don't think they're going to be severe, but we didn't want to be out in it. So I am going to make some garlic Parmesan croutons. Y'all know that I made a loaf of bread the other day. It's artisan bread, and I've got probably not quite a half a loaf left, and I don't want to throw it out. And you can do this with old bread, or you can buy a baguette or whatever kind of bread you got or you want to use. So these tend to do good because it's a hearty bread, so they're going to hold up. I'm going to saute them in some garlic Parmesan olive oil, and then I'm going to put them on a baking sheet and put them in the oven. So first of all, I was going to have this done before I got on, and Carla texted me. She said, "Are you going on?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I looked at the clock, and it was like 7 minutes till 10. So I had to grab my apron and get my stuff together real quick. So I'm just going, y'all bear with me while I cut this bread, and I'm gonna cut it in cubes, and then we'll move over to the stove. So I hope everyone's having a good morning, and everyone that's had people in your family sick, or either you're sick yourself, I hope y'all are also doing better. I'm going to try this one this way because I don't want to let that knife slip. Okay, now this is the bread knife in case y'all wonder what I'm using here. May not have it cut real pretty. The good thing about croutons, they don't have to be in any kind of certain shape. You can cut them as you want to. So that's what I'm going to do with these. And I'll just move some of this off my table here. I'm just going to cut some little squares. And I don't know if restaurants do this with their leftover bread or not, but I have a feeling they probably do. There's no use to waste bread when you can use it for something like in stuffing, or I'll leave that one off. That one's a little bit stiff. These are good. And I'm sure I could stack these together and cut them at the same time, but I'm going to do them individually. And been going through recipes again, because at the end of the month gets here before we know it, and then we have to start thinking about what we're going to do for the next month. So I've got some, and Mary has too, we both got some good ideas for what we're going to do next month, and I've just got to get them typed and get them to little Linda. So that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend. And of course, on our other page, we've been super busy on it because it's end of the month and the beginning of a new month, and that's a lot of work too. So it's just been a very busy week. And once you go to town, even if it's just up the road 15 miles, you spend at least a half a day. It never fails. If I get out and go to the store, I don't know if y'all are like that or not, but it just seems like you don't want to rush, and yet you're rushing, and you try to do all the stops you can do like yesterday, and you still don't get accomplished what you wanted to get accomplished. So that's kind of how it is. You know, sometimes that's how life goes. You don't get done what you want to do. I'm a list person. I'm real big on lists, and I've always have been. I've always loved pencils, and I've always loved making lists. So if I have a to-do list and I have a whole bunch of stuff on it, sometimes before the day's over, I know I'm not going to get everything done, so I just have to prioritize and get done what I need to get done and leave the rest for another day. And that's very hard for somebody that's used to being productive and used to having time left in your day. I don't know if y'all are like that or not, but as you age, some of you may know what I'm talking about. As you age, your mind thinks you're going to get it done, but your physical body tells you, no way, you're not going to get all that done. So it's kind of, you have to, Mama used to say, you have to laugh to keep from crying. And that's, you know, this is not, it's not a crying manner, but that's just something that she used to say. So this is not a whole lot of croutons. You could certainly do a bigger batch than this. But let me see if I can get this cut. I hate to lose that little crusty part. I love the ends of bread like this. So I'll just throw them in there too. Ain't no use to waste that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to move this over here to my skillet. And hopefully y'all are going to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm not necessarily concerned about you seeing my face, but I'd like for you to be able to see what I'm doing. So for all of our new followers out there, we do not have a production crew. It's me and Mary, and when we're by ourselves, it's just one of us. Little Linda has had work that she's had to do for us behind the scenes this week, and she may be working on that again next week. And then Carla works the camera. Thank you, Carla. She's on here today. And so we're, you know, we don't have a professional, I know that's probably funny to y'all because we are not professional. Y'all already know that. But we have sometimes people will say, you know, I don't like to watch Linda because she's constantly moving around, moving away from the camera. When it's just one of us, if it's me or Mary, sometimes that's necessary. So y'all bear with us. I'm going to use this big skillet here, and the reason I'm using it because I want to have room for this to move around. I've got my baking pan, and I've got my oven on 275. I want these to slow cook because they need to get crunchy. So I won't stay on air until they're done, but I will show y'all the finished product after. There's never no use to throw away old bread. You can make croutons out of it. They're not only good on salads, but they're really good in soups. Panera always serves them with their soups, and it just gives a little crunch and a little bit of extra flavor. So this is actually the first time I'm using this. And it's garlic, Parmesan, olive oil, and then we have basil infused. I'm thinking I may put a little basil too, but I'm definitely going to use this, and I'm going to add just a little bit of butter for flavor. So I'm not measuring this. I'm just going to eyeball it. Oh my goodness, that smells so good. This is the first time I've swallowed air the wrong way. This is the first time I've used this, and it smells wonderful. I need to shake it because all that good stuff's in the bottom. See all that good stuff down there? That's the garlic pieces. So I'm going to shake this up. See all the little, see how beautiful that is? Okay, my skillet's hot. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this in here and throw my bread in. I'll let that get hot just a second. I want to smell this basil too. We love basil. That smells really good too. I'm going to dash a little bit of this on here too. Oh yeah, that's a great idea to put it on top of macaroni and cheese. Anything that, I'm not going to put as much of the basil as I did the garlic Parmesan. But it's already hot. This skillet gets hot really quick. This is one of our new skillets. And I'm just going to dump it in here. Oops. So I wanted this big because I wanted to be able to move around in here. And I may even drizzle a little bit more olive oil on there. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I might not need any more. Again, I just decided on the whim that I would do these this morning. I thought about cooking breakfast, but Mike needed to eat before I went on air. So I fixed our breakfast, a breakfast sandwich, bacon and egg sandwich. And then there was 2 or 3 other things that I was thinking about doing. But I said, you know what, I need to use this bread. Let's just make some croutons. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm sure that probably lots of y'all have done this before. This is not not a hard thing to do at all, but it's something to use up your leftover bread if you don't want to lose it. And bread's so expensive. Of course, I made this, but if you get a good loaf of bread at the store, it can be $5 or $6 a loaf. And if you buy it at a restaurant or bakery, you're going to pay. I'm going by Panera's price. You're going to pay high dollar for it. In fact, I think I paid $15 for it, and it was a big loaf, but I've paid $15 for a loaf of bread from Panera before. So if you make your own, then you're going to come out a lot cheaper. And it's really good. It's not hard to make. It's like anything that you do in the kitchen. It's going to take a little bit of your time, but if you prep and have your stuff ready, in the long run, if you had to drive somewhere to get it, I know the deal today is to get stuff delivered, and we don't live in an area where they deliver it, but a lot of people in town do. It's just they think it's easier to get something delivered, and there are times that might be really a good thing, but to me, it's just easier to make it yourself. You know, that's how I am. I'm a practical person. I'd rather spend that extra money on something else. So you can see they're starting to get a little bit brown, but I want to get them toasted a little bit, get a little bit of crunch on them before I put them in the oven. It smells really delicious. We have got several things that we are going to be doing this fall. September is kind of a in-between month because the fall festivals and everything haven't really started yet. Kathy, yes, I did use the deal bread that I made. That's what this is. But we've got several things that we're going to be doing when we're doing our out and abouts. But it's very hard for one person to hold the camera when little Linda is not with us, and we're trying to talk and do something too, and especially with it raining. So we just decided today that we would opt to do this. So that's why I'm doing this by myself today. And Mary will probably be on doing something by herself for the weekend's out. So, I want to tell y'all something that one of the comments that I read the other day that just touched me so much. Our little dolls that the lady from Great Britain sent us, which are so adorable. I bought a doll stand yesterday, and it was too big, so I'm going to have to take it back and get a smaller one. I wanted a wooden one, but they didn't have one. And doll stands are hard to find. Walmart used to carry them, and they don't carry them anymore. But I bought this one at Hobby Lobby, but like I said, Mike took one look at it. He said it's too big. I said, no, it's not. It doesn't make you mad when they're right and you're wrong. He said, it is, Linda, it's too big. So he was right. It was too big, so I'm going to take it back and get a smaller one. But these oils are Pampered Chef. They're basil infused. It's 8 ounces. These are gluten-free. And this is the first time I've used them, but I really do like them. They are wonderful, and this would be good just to dip bread in, like if you're eating spaghetti or an Italian meal, and you're they slice, they give you bread like in an Italian restaurant a few years back when I was still traveling with my job. I had told Renee and her kids that this is Carla's third daughter and her girls. She has two boys too, but these were her two girls. And I told them before I quit traveling, I was going to fly them to where I was at, and we were going to have a little mini vacation. So I was coming from, oh my goodness, I guess Minnesota somewhere. I think it was Minnesota, and I was going to travel back through, I don't know where I was at. I might not have been in Minnesota, but I was going to get close to Wisconsin, so in Chicago. So we booked flights for her and the girls, and I picked them up at the airport. We had a 4-day weekend in Chicago and Wisconsin. We went over to at Lake Geneva, and we had the best time. It was so fun. Haley, of course, none of them at that time had ever flown, and it's always so fun to see something through a child's eyes. And we were driving up the interstate, and Haley said, "The trees are blue," and she was so fascinated because it was the evergreens, and they were, they have a blue tint to it. And I didn't know if they would notice that or not, but it was so sweet that she noticed that the trees were different from trees that she was used to having and used to seeing in East Texas. So anyway, in Chicago, we went to a restaurant in a shop and a restaurant called Eataly, E-A-T-E-L-Y, I believe. I think those have got enough color on them that I'm going to take them out. They smell divine. I'm going to turn my burner off. And I didn't even oil this baking pan. I'm just dumping them off on there, and I never did put any butter in them, and I didn't because I think it's got enough oil on it, so I just didn't put no butter on it. I think this is going to have lots of flavor. So there's the croutons. They're different shapes and sizes, and that's okay. And then I'm going to put them in the oven at 275, and I'm going to set the timer for, I think I'm going to set the timer for about 12 minutes, and then I'll stir them. Normally when I'm doing something in the oven like this, I'll have the timer set for 15-minute intervals. But I'm going to move this on over here. So I got to finish telling y'all my story. So we went to the Eataly, to the restaurant. I think that place was owned by Mario Batali. I may not be saying his name right, but I think that's who it was. And we ate upstairs in the restaurant, and they brought us these little, this oil in the saucers, and you could dip your bread in it. Renee didn't like it. She didn't like it at all, but I don't think that it was flavored olive oil. I think it was just plain olive oil. But this would be really good to do something like that. So we had the best time. We had worked, I had worked in Lake Geneva, and we stayed at this resort, and it had an inside water park, and we were there for, goodness, I don't know, I think I was there like 3 or 4 weeks. Mary came and stayed a week with me while I was there, and they gave us bands that we could go every day. They gave us several bands that we could go every day. I never went one time to the water park because I'm not that kind of person. But we had, it was a real nice apartment. And so I wanted to take Renee and the girls back there because I knew they would enjoy that water park and take a ride on the boat in Lake Geneva. And I don't know how many of y'all have seen a lot of pictures on my page or not, on my personal page, but when Mary was there, we took a picture at this fountain in downtown Lake Geneva. And then when I was there with Renee and the girls, I took a picture. I think it was Kaylin. I don't think I got a picture of all of us, but Kaylin was standing at that same fountain. So it was kind of nostalgic that I could take both of those pictures, or somebody took the picture of me and Mary. But we rode on a boat over Lake Geneva, and of course they give you, all the history and tell you about the homes and the famous people that owned them and lived there. And it's a beautiful place. So we did that, and then we we stayed there at the lodge, and then we went back to Chicago, and we stayed in North Chicago one night at the Renaissance. And I'm using hotel points, right? Because I was traveling so much, I had tons of hotel points, so none of these hotels were costing me any money. And so we stayed at the Renaissance, which was very, very nice hotel. And the girls were, Haley's 13 now, and Kaylin's going to be 12 in a few days. Her birthday's in September. So, and this was probably, I want to say it was maybe 8 years ago. So they were smaller girls, but everywhere we went, everybody complimented them. They had so much fun, and people recognized us. They were dressed so cute, and we went to Navy Pier, and we got to go through all the shops there and ride the rides. And Kaylin wasn't tall enough to ride one ride, the big ride, so Renee and Haley rode it. Haley just wanted to ride that ride, so we let them ride that, and then I stayed with Kaylin, and Kaylin was going to ride this little ride that goes up and down. I don't know what it's called, but she wanted me to ride with her. It was hilarious. I wasn't near as big then as I am now, but I could not fit in that seat. I tried my best, and I just could not fit in it, so I just stood out there and watched her. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and then we went, after that night, we went on down to downtown Chicago and stayed there, and that's when we went to Italy and some more places. And then the night before they left, we stayed at the airport. But I bought car seats because they had to have car seats, so I bought car seats for them to have while you know, they were riding with me. I had fleet vehicle that I was driving, so it was a lot of fun, and the girls just enjoyed it so much, and it was just something that was very, very special. Y'all know I get really excited when I talk about the kids because I love those kids so much. But I hope that we've been on several trips, like where we would all go and stay at, like we went to the resort in Branson, and again, I'm using points, hotel points, so I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on hotels. And all of Mary's family was there, and we stayed there, and that was a lot of fun. If y'all have seen the pictures where everybody's dressed in white t-shirts or white tops and blue jean skirts or blue jeans, that was made in Branson when we were there. That was Mother's Day weekend, and it was also my birthday. And we had a blast at that time too. We had so much fun. We try to make memories every time we can, and it's not always about money. We pool our resources. We'll use hotel points. We'll use airline points to where we're not buying airline tickets. Of course, I don't have any airline points anymore because I don't fly much. But at the time I did. I had airline points and hotel points, and so I had a lot of perks from traveling. I always called them my what was it that I called them? My badges of honor, because I'd have bruises all over me every time I'd go from one place to the next, because you're picking up heavy suitcases and hauling them out of the hotel, hauling them back in, and sometimes you had to haul them upstairs if we were in a place where, like a residence inn, sometimes they were outside entrances and you had to go upstairs, and that was really a hoot. That was really hard work when you had to unload your car and load it. But I have lots and lots of good memories from the time that I was traveling, and especially when I was with my family. So I want to show y'all something. I showed this on my other page yesterday, but I want to show y'all what my friend Kathy in California sent me. When I come in after I've been gone, like to Mary's or something, and I come in, Mike always has the mail on the table. And I had the box from Amazon that I had ordered, so that was on the table. But there was another box, and it was a priority box, and it was a big chug full of stuff. And my sweet Kathy, look at these gorgeous lemons. I am so in awe of these. I love lemons. My family loves lemons. Edward loves lemons. My Aunt Marie, Daddy's sister, loved lemons. And I remember years ago when I visited her in Florida, before she moved back to Pennsylvania, she told me, she said, Linda, I eat them like an orange. I peel them and eat them like an orange. Never knew that my Aunt Marie loved lemons that well. And Edward loves them too, and so do I. I don't think Mary is not as much of a lemon person as I am, but after every meal, if we're eating in a restaurant, the last thing I do is eat the lemon out of my tea. So I just want to show y'all how beautiful these are. Aren't they gorgeous? There's little ones and big ones and medium-sized ones. So I got some work cut out for me. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to use some of these for. I'm going to juice some of them and freeze them in ice cubes. I'm going to zest some of them and freeze the zest in some liquid, so it, because zest will dry out real quick, so I'm going to freeze it in the liquid. And I'm so excited for all these beautiful lemons, and thank you. And that wasn't the only thing that was in that box. She said nuts, several packages of nuts, and a couple of cute things, but I'm not going to show you that until I'm with Mary, because I want to show y'all that. Y'all are going to get a kick out of that. So thank you, Kathy. Love you, and thank you for being so thoughtful. So, let's see if my buzzer's not quite time yet. So, I was trying to think another one of our trips that we did. Well, we drove to, from here, we drove to Flagstaff, Arizona one time, me and Mary and her kids. And we've actually done that twice. I believe we've done that twice, at least with two of them. Seemed like one time all three of her kids was with us, but I can't remember that. And then Mama went with us one time, and Mother loved, oh my goodness, she loved to travel. She would get in the car and go if she felt really bad. She loved to go with us. And she just, Paulie was like that, Mama's daddy. He was a family person who loved to go visit his family. And I remember one time when I was still living in Mississippi, and everybody else but Edward and I had moved back to Texas, but Edward was married and had a family, so he was still in Mississippi, and I was there. And Molly, of course there were no cell phones or anything like that back then. They wrote letters or either called you long distance. And there wasn't a whole lot of calling long distance because that costs money, and they didn't do that. But they wanted me to come down there and drive them to go to San Antonio, and that's what we call San Antonio. Texans say San Antonio, and I could just hear my Paulie saying that. And so they wanted me to drive, Mom and Paul and Mama. They wanted me to drive them and us to take a little vacation around Texas. So I first said no, that I couldn't leave. I was working at the church at that time. So yes, I could have left, but in my mind I thought I couldn't. But I finally decided I would go, and I was so, so happy that I did. Some of the best memories of my life was on that trip. And we went to see some distant relatives of Paul's in San Antonio, and we made a huge loop. We would make bologna or cold cut sandwiches and stop at a roadside park and eat lunch like they did in the 40s and 50s. So much fun. And then we come back through Dallas and Fort Worth and stopped and visited with Charles and Linnell before we made the big loop and went back to Nacogdoches and Sharina. But every morning, now this would have been in the early 70s, I'm thinking. Could have been in the late 60s or early 70s. But every morning, and Ma had told me, she said, I told her, I said, Ma, I don't have any money. I don't have any extra money. She said, you don't worry about money. You just come. And she said, we're going to pay for everything. And of course they did. They paid for the rooms, the gas, the food. But every morning she would have a $20 bill laid on my dresser for me. And I was overwhelmed. $20 was a lot of money. But every day she gave me a $20 bill. Okay, I'm going to move the camera again. Y'all bear with me. And I'm going to take them out and check them. I can smell them. They smell really good. And when you're toasting something like this in the oven, you do want to do a slow toast. When I do caramel crackers or the seasoned crackers, I usually cook them for an hour, and I stir them every 15 minutes. So I put this on, not 15 minutes, but I'm going to put it back in the oven and set it for another 15 minutes, or set it for 15 minutes this time. You don't want them to get too brown, so you want to do this at a slow. I sure wish y'all could smell these. They absolutely smell so good. So I'm going to put them back in here, set the timer again. Makes a lot of noise. And once they get done and cool, I'll put them out and put them on the board and take pictures of them and let y'all see them. But I would tell Ma, I said, Ma, you don't have to pay me. I don't need this much money. You don't have to pay me. And she said, no, I told you if you would come that I would make it worth your while. And she just insisted that I take it. And it was such a fun time for me to be with Ma and Pa, and of course Mama. And we grew up beside Pinky Ma and Pinky Pa, so we saw them several times a day. I mean, we were such a huge part of their life that we probably, I hate to say this because we have other cousins that were close to Pinky Ma and Pinky Pa too, and that loved them, but we were there. We were the ones that took them to the grocery store, we took them to funerals, we took them to church, wherever they needed to go, we were the ones that took them. And when we say we, I don't mean me, but Mom and Daddy or my siblings, because they all started driving a lot earlier than I did. But Ma and Pa, we would see them, we'd probably see them at least every couple of weeks. We'd go to Sharina, to the farm to see them. But back in those days, 35 miles, that was a big trip. You know, it was not something that you, like we go to Longview, it's 32 miles, and you know, you don't think anything about it. You have to go 2 or 3 times a week. But back then, driving 35 miles one way was a long way. So it wasn't something that we did all the time. So I really enjoyed the time that I spent with Ma and Pa. It was a lot of fun. So I don't know if there are any questions, because the only way I can see is if I get the camera right in front of my eyes to look at them. And I'm not going to move it again. But I really appreciate y'all joining me. And I will take pictures of this. I'm going to cook them out probably another time after this goes off. And then I'll take some pictures and show y'all. So I appreciate y'all watching. Mary and I love y'all so much. We thank you from the bottom of our heart for watching and loving and supporting us. And if you're out and about today and you're picking up something for yourself, and you have a neighbor or somebody that you feel like might need a little extra pick me up, think about them. You know, it doesn't have to be much. Maybe you made a big pot of potato soup or something, and take them a bowl. You know, it's not always what you do, the thing that you do. It's the fact that you remembered them, that you thought of them. We have very, very busy lives, and I'm very thankful that we have busy lives, because we are happiest when we're busy. But there are a lot of people that their kids are grown, their friends, a lot of them have already passed on, their spouses may have passed on. People that they grew up with memories are no longer there. They're not either physically there, or they're not there in the location, and they can't visit like us that can still get in the car and go somewhere can. So just to know that someone thought of them might be something that just carries them through another day. And I always think of that when I think about Ma Lee and Pinky Ma, because, you know, people, you spend their lives doing for others, their family, their kids, their grandkids, their great-grandkids, and then they get old and they can't do. So it's almost like they're discarded because they're not needed anymore. So take some time, sit and talk with them. And that's another thing. You don't even have to carry them anything. Just go and be in their presence. Be interested in what they have to say and let them talk to you. That would just mean the world to some people because they miss that. It's like a house, a home. You pass by a home that's vacant and you think about all the memories that were made there, but there's no life there. It's gone, it's vacant, it's empty. And when a person is by themselves and they're in a place where they don't see a lot of people and friends, it's like they're so isolated. So your time is just as valuable or more so than anything you could do for them money-wise or anything that you could take to them. In fact, most older people will tell you they would rather have someone visit them than them bring them flowers or send them flowers or send them something. They just like to know that they're still loved, that they're still valuable, and that they're still needed. So thank you very much. God bless you. I'm going to get off now. I told y'all once a while ago and I kept talking because y'all know how I am. But I miss my sister today. But she'll be back with me next week, Lord willing. And y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay well, and always, always, always be kind and count your blessings. Bye-bye.